of course, knew of the Boy Scouts policy when I joined my son Cruz's pack. We signed him up with hesitation, but we were assured that my orientation would be no problem. In fact, the day I signed him up, they asked me to be den leader, knowing full well my orientation. From that day on, I loved Scouts. I fell in love with it. I loved the change that I saw in Cruz, and we had a great time. When I was removed, it was horrible. Even though my Scout parents loved me and they constantly thanked me for all the hard work I did, I was still removed based on this archaic policy that just needs to be changed. The letter that I received said I did not meet the high standards of the BSA. The sad truth is, my story isn't that unique. As you can see by these guys standing behind me, it happens way too often. Countless Boy Scouts and leaders have been removed from scouting just because they are being who they are. I don't want one parent to have to tell their son they can't be a part of Scouts because they're not good enough, because the society says their parents aren't good enough. I will not let that happen until every child can join Scouts and every parent can join Scouts. My work with GLAD and Change Honor will continue.
When Isaiah was in first grade, he wanted to join the Cub Scouts. Michael and I were aware of the policy of the Boy Scouts of America that prohibited gay youth and members from being enrolled. And we discouraged Isaiah from joining the Cub Scouts in first grade, although many of his friends did that. In second grade, he kind of wore us down, and we relented, and we finally signed him up as a Cub Scout. And he really enjoyed those early years of scouting. Michael and I were both involved with his den and his pack activities initially, but only as adults, as the parents of a scout. But by the end of Isaiah's third grade year, his adult leaders were abandoning ship and his den was sinking fast, so another member, another adult, and I both registered to become adult leaders, and we sort of took it from there. It was at that point that after decades of being out of the closet, Boy Scouts of America forced me back into the closet with its don't ask, don't tell policy. Over the next 5 years, I was a Cub Scout leader and then an assistant scoutmaster after Isaiah crossed over to the Boy Scout troop. In early summer of 2012, I was deeply involved in gay pride activities with my fellow LGBT associates at my place of employment. And I realized at that point that I could no longer stay in the closet with the Boy Scouts. So I contacted the Scout executive of the Lincoln Heritage Council, and I told him I was gay. I asked him if I was welcome, and I wanted to create a dialogue about how we might go about changing the membership policy. The response was that the council asked me to resign immediately. My son, Isaiah, and I have been scouting together since he was in second grade, and now he's in high school. Isaiah is a Life Scout, and Lord willing, he will complete his final Eagle rank requirements in the next 2 or 3 months. I am very proud of him, and I have been with him every step along his way to the path, from Arrow of Light to crossover, through all of his rank advancements and all of his required merit badges. Now he is on the brink of reaching that great Eagle Scout milestone, and the BSA has told me that I am not welcome, that I'm not worthy to be a member, and that is simply wrong.
Recently, I launched a petition on change.org, calling upon National Geographic to disavow the Boy Scouts of America's anti-gay policy, and to issue a disclaimer before airing its new reality series, Are You Tougher Than a Boy Scout? It has become clear that this series is significant to the BSA's branding as a cool and relevant program, and for this reason, National Geographic might have particular sway. I started as a Bobcat Cub when I was 6 or so, and earned Eagle before I turned 18. I'm one of 4 boys, 4 Eagles now, and scouting has always been part of our family culture. My father was a troop leader for over a decade, and my mother was a den chief. It was scouting that first introduced me to the outdoors. One of Boy Scouts' most important lessons is that our actions should follow from our principles. In taking up the Scout sign, I was taught that there are three kinds of duties. First, duties to God and country, and second, duties to other people. I was taught about a third kind of duty as well, the duties that I owe just to myself. To speak the truth, not to shirk my sense of right and wrong, not to stand by passively in the face of injustice. All this is just to say that the BSA's current membership policy is fundamentally at odds with its own mission, and that I am here today as a product of Scouting. Looking back on my childhood, I can describe the experience of living in the closet only as terrifying, even in spite of the support of my family and my troop. Often, to a child in the closet, nothing is more real than that terror. I asked the leaders of this organization to imagine the alienation of waking up each morning, a child, knowing that today, against every fiber of your being, you must lie to yourself and to your friends in Scouting. Tomorrow, and the next day, every day, you must do it again. This is the least harmful version of what this policy asks.
Ryan devoted 12 years of his life to becoming an Eagle Scout, only to be denied that honor by local Scout leaders who were, apparently, threatened by what might happen if they defied the national policy. But if the Boy Scout National Board had ended this policy just a few months ago, my son Ryan would be an Eagle Scout now. He would not have had to endure the pain of the last 4 months. But Ryan made what was apparently a very big mistake 2 years ago. He was honest. He was trustworthy, loyal, and brave in admitting to himself, to his mom and me, and to his Scoutmaster that he is gay. When local Boy Scout leaders were faced with this truth, they refused to sign the official paperwork designating Ryan as an Eagle Scout, despite the fact that Ryan had completed all of the requirements, and in spite of the encouragement and mentoring of his own trusted Scoutmaster. I was so proud of Ryan's anti-bullying work, and here was BSA being the biggest bully of all. Luckily, our Scouting community is standing behind Ryan, and with the removal of this national ban on gay youth and adult leaders, I know that fewer young people will be forced to experience the anguish that my son has endured. But we can't stop here. Simply lifting the discriminatory ban is only a first step. Until the Boy Scouts of America adopts a national non-discrimination policy, corporations will still lack confidence that their donations are going to an organization that supports equality. And the reality is that the proposed change still doesn't go far enough because in some communities across the country, incredible adult leaders and role models like Jennifer and Greg will still be told that they cannot participate in their children's Scouting experience. And some young people, like my son Ryan, will still be told that they are inferior and that they are not welcome. This policy change is a huge step forward, and I am grateful that BSA is at least starting to do what's right. But we can do better. I pray that the BSA National Board starts to understand this and acts quickly to make the incredible Scouting journey open to all young men.